Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Fraud Watch Friday, brought to you by AARP. I am Ed Michaels, your Fraud Watch volunteer, and today I'm going to talk to you about a scam you've heard about many times, home repair scams, but with a variation that you may not be prepared for as you invite someone right into your home to scam you. I talk about this because it happened to me. And we're going to get the whole story in just a second. But first, I need to take care of a little housekeeping and tell you that if you want more information about what I talk about today, you can get it at www.aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network. And that's all one word. Or if you've been subjected to a scam of any kind, want to know what to do about it or to report it, you can call the Fraud Watch hotline. That's at 1-877-908-3360. And finally, if you'd like to join us in fighting scams with the AARP team here in Kansas and Missouri, you can call the Kansas office at 866-448-3619. So with that said, let's go on and talk about what happened to me a few months ago. And basically it happened like this. I'm sure that all of you at one time or another, and perhaps on a continuing basis, prepay for some preventive maintenance on your furnace. Usually this is done twice a year. They'll come in and do a preventive maintenance checkup on your furnace in the fall, and then do a preventative maintenance checkup on your air conditioner in the spring. Well, this happened last fall as I called up and made an appointment with a heating and air conditioning company that I have worked with for well over 20 years. And as I was making the appointment, the person who did the scheduling said, I want to make sure that you still have the furnace that we put in 15 years ago and have not upgraded it. And I said, no, you do all my work. You guys were here last spring. You know that I still have my furnace that you guys put in 15 years ago. She says, 15 years, right? You know that they get a little bit shaky after 15 years. And I said, well, let's see what it is. Come on out and do the maintenance. So 2 days later, out comes a technician, and I open the door, and behind him, strangely enough, is another fellow. And I said, well, what's going on here, guys? And the technician said, well, I'm so-and-so, and this is so-and-so, and he happens to be a salesman. He likes to come out and just watch us work and get more oriented to what the actual things we do and how we do them. So he's just going to come out and watch a little bit, if you don't mind. I said, well, I don't mind at all. So we went down to the furnace room, and it's in my basement, just not far from the chair I'm sitting in right now, just around the corner. And as the technician went in to work on the furnace, the salesman positioned himself in between me and the technician in such a way that I couldn't really see what was going on. He carried on chit-chat. He didn't pay any attention at all to what the technician was doing. So apparently he wasn't learning anything about how they operate, but he was engaging me in regular conversation. Finally, after the 15 or 20 minutes of binging and banging around the corner here, the technician said, okay, all done. We've got some problems that we need to talk about. And he says, Mr. Michaels, your heat exchanger has shown significant rust on it, and this probably comes from a leak that was repaired a while back on your dehydration and hydration unit that's attached to your furnace. It probably leaked, and it's caused this rust, and you're going to have a failure here on this heat exchanger here soon. I said, oh, that doesn't sound good. What will it cost me to replace this heat exchanger? And he says, well, it's in the range of $900, and then of course there's labor costs on top of that. Given the age of your furnace, though, and the fact that you've had it for 15 years, maybe you want to talk to our salesman here and see about some other prices for a new furnace. I said, well, all right. Can you give me some prices? And he said, absolutely. Just let me run out to the car and I'll get some quotes will run up for you while our technician continues to clean up and put everything away here. So he comes back after about 5 or 6 minutes, and he says, "Here's a couple of prices that I'm quoting you. Both were for well over $9,000 for a new furnace." Um, but the strange thing was, is as I looked at these, the information that was given on the quotes for two separate furnaces, about $50 or $60 apart, had nothing on them except a serial number and the specifications of the size of the unit. And I said, well, "What's this with the specifications?" He said, "Well, I picked out ones that were of the same size furnace as you have now, so you won't have to have any more duct work done." I said, "Well, that's good," but I said, these specs that you're giving me are woefully inadequate." I said, "What's the BTU rating on this furnace? What is the air displacement that this is going to move around my house? Why is there no energy efficiency rating that you're showing me here? And where's the warranty information? Certainly, you got a warranty on these furnaces." He says, "Oh yeah, well, we warrant our work for for 5 years." I said, "Well, what about the warranty on the furnace?" He says, "Well, I don't know. This is just what they give me to give to you." I said, "Well, I'm not going to make a decision based on this." I said, "You're going to have to get me more information about these furnaces. And secondly, I'm going to have to talk to my wife about a $9,000 expense." He goes, "Well, you better move quickly." And I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Well, we're expecting a price increase on coming in on Monday, and we'll have to charge you 20% more for these furnaces on Monday if you don't sign a contract this weekend and have it installed. And by the way, I can get it installed. This was on a Wednesday, so I can get it installed on Friday for you." I said, "No, I still got to talk to my wife." And I said, "Furthermore, I'd like to see this heat transfer exchanger and what it looks like." And he says, "Well, we've closed up the furnace right now. It's going to take a long time to tear it all down again. But the pictures that we took of the heat exchanger were sent back to our office through our equipment, and we can forward those to you. And I'll forward you with more information about the furnaces." And I said, "Okay, fine." So I waited, and a few hours later, I said, "Well, this is all the information I've got on the furnaces. It's the same thing that he gave me before. And here's the picture of your heat exchanger," which certainly was a heat exchanger. How I knew it was mine, I don't know. But I said, "This is not adequate. I still want more information about the furnace. I want more information about the heat exchanger. I want more information about all of this before I commit." He says, "Well, remember that timing I told you about?" And I said, "Well, I want to talk to your sales manager." And so a little while later, in comes the sales manager, and I tell him everything that's happened. He says, "Well, this is just our policy. This is how we do it." And I said, "I've worked with you guys for 20 years. I've never had anybody do anything like this." He goes, "Well, we, like many other of the heating and air conditioning companies here in Kansas City, have been purchased over the last few years to new ownership, and we've got different business practices than we had before." I said, "Well, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want your furnaces. I don't want your business practices, and I'm going to have someone else look at the furnace," which I did. I had someone else come in. They looked at it. They said, "Yeah, there's rust on your heat exchanger, but there's no danger of failure, and this thing should work well for many years to come. We'll just keep an eye on it." So I'm glad I didn't make the bad decision, but let's just look at a couple of the red flags that triggered me and which you should watch out for, even if you're working with someone like I was, who I had a 20-year business relationship with. Things change and home repair scams come in. First of all, my radar went up when she made the big point, the scheduler, about how old my furnace was and reiterated on it 2 or 3 times, and then started selling me on the idea that it was getting too old and might need replacement. The second red flag was when a salesman showed up with the technician. I've never had that happen before with this company, or for that matter, any other one. Usually the technician shows up, says there's a problem, and then says a salesman will get in contact with me. Never had them show up like that. Never had them try and block me to see what was going on in terms of the repair. And I've always had technicians who show me what the problem is at the time that they spot it. So another red flag, salesman, and then not letting me see the picture of the heat exchanger, not letting me know that it's mine and knowing what it looks like. Another huge red flag. Finally, you look on it further, here comes a couple of bids on the furnace for a lot of money, a lot more than it really should cost for the replacement of a furnace, with no specific information about the quality or the specifications of my furnace that I'm going to buy other than their size, and certainly no information about any warranties involved. So all these added together pretty much put me off. And then when he told me that there was a price increase going on and that I had to move quickly and had to get it in within 72 hours, which, by the way, you may know is how long you have to back out on a contract that you sign in Kansas. So, a consumer contract. So he was trying to get me in, had the work done and all that before I could have any additional thoughts about what was happening. All these were big red flags. And finally, when I had the other company come and take a look at this, they said, oh, by the way, you have a top-of-the-line furnace here. The heat exchanger has a lifetime warranty. We can go ahead and replace it for nothing when it fails. It's not failing now, but when it fails, we can replace it for nothing, and we will help work with you, with the manufacturer, to get reimbursement for the work that we do to replace your heat exchanger. So, all in all, the company that I had a long relationship with, I felt was running a home repair scam on me. And I thought by getting a second opinion, I saved myself a whole bunch of money. So watch for those red flags. As I say, people change, companies change, ownership changes. Even someone you've worked with for a long time might be running a scam on you. And if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. So I'm going to wrap up for today, but I'm going to remind you one more time, if you want more information on home repair scams or any other kind of scams that are going on out there, you can look them up online at www.aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network, all one word. There's never a fee to check this out. You will not be solicited to join AARP. You don't have to be a senior citizen to use it. It's open there as a benefit for everybody to access. So please feel free to do that. If you have been scammed somehow and you want to report it or get some information on how to rectify the situation, you can call the Fraud Watch hotline at AARP at 1-877-908-3360. And as I said before, if you'd like to join us in the Fraud Watch battle, you can call the Topeka office at 866-448-3619, and they'll get you in touch with the people that can help get you going on fighting fraud. Thanks again for your time today, and we'll be seeing you next month. Ed Michaels, signing off. Thank you.